If you've been carrying a weight that no one else seems to notice, if you've been smiling in front of people while silently wondering why your heart still reaches for someone you can no longer hug, then don't rush away from this moment. There is something deeply personal waiting for you in these words. Not because anyone can claim to speak on behalf of heaven, but because love has a remarkable way of leaving wisdom behind. Today, imagine, for just a little while, what a mother whose love never truly faded would want her child to remember. As you listen, allow your heart to be open not to fear, not to impossible promises but to comfort, hope, and the kind of truth that stays with you long after the video ends. Have you ever noticed how certain memories arrive without warning? A familiar scent. A favorite meal. A song you hadn't heard in years. Suddenly it feels as though time has folded in on itself, and for one quiet moment, the distance between yesterday and today disappears. Those moments remind us that love leaves fingerprints everywhere. Even after someone is gone, the lessons they planted continue growing inside us. Maybe that's why you've been thinking about your mother more often lately. Maybe life has placed you at a crossroads, and deep inside, you're searching for the courage she always seemed to have. Imagine hearing these words from the heart of a mother whose greatest wish was never wealth, fame, or perfection for her child. Instead, imagine her saying, "Please don't spend your life believing you weren't enough. I never measured your worth by your achievements. I measured it by your kindness, your courage to keep going, and your ability to love even after being hurt." Think about that for a moment. How many times have you judged yourself more harshly than anyone else ever could? How many nights have you replayed your mistakes, convinced they defined your future? Yet the people who truly loved you rarely remembered you for your failures. They remembered your laughter. They remembered the way you helped others without expecting anything in return. They remembered your heart. Perhaps you've forgotten what they never did. There is something extraordinary about a mother's hope. Long before you understood the world, she imagined possibilities for your life that you couldn't yet see. She believed you would survive storms you hadn't even encountered. She believed you would find strength before you knew you possessed it. That belief wasn't built on certainty. It was built on love. And maybe today, what you need most is not another prediction about tomorrow. Maybe what you need is to rediscover the confidence someone once had in you. Pause for a second and ask yourself this question. When was the last time you believed in yourself the way your mother believed in you? Don't answer too quickly. Because somewhere between responsibilities, disappointments, and endless comparisons, many people lose sight of the person they were always meant to become. They become experts at surviving but strangers to hope. They keep moving, but they forget why they started walking in the first place. If that sounds familiar, stay with this message. There is another thought worth holding close. Imagine your mother gently reminding you, don't let one painful chapter convince you the whole story is over. How often have we mistaken delays for endings? A closed door doesn't erase every opportunity. A difficult season doesn't erase every joyful one. A broken dream doesn't mean new dreams can't grow. Sometimes life asks us to release one version of the future so we can discover another that we never imagined. That doesn't mean the journey is easy. There will always be days when loneliness feels louder than hope. Days when memories arrive with tears instead of smiles. Days when you wonder whether anyone truly understands what you've carried. On those days, remember something simple. The love that shaped you is still shaping you. Every encouraging word your mother ever spoke became part of the way you think. Every sacrifice she made became part of the strength you inherited. Every lesson she repeated became a compass that still points toward wisdom, even when life feels confusing. You may not always notice it, but it is there. Hidden beneath your resilience. Hidden beneath your compassion. Hidden beneath every decision to keep going when giving up would have been easier. There is a reason some people become unexpectedly strong after unimaginable loss. It isn't because pain disappears. It's because love quietly teaches endurance. Now imagine another gentle reminder. Please forgive yourself for taking longer than you expected. Those words reach farther than many people realize. Some have spent years believing they should already have everything figured out. They compare their journey to everyone else's highlight reel. They assume they're behind because life hasn't unfolded according to their schedule. But growth rarely follows a straight line. Sometimes the strongest people spend years rebuilding invisible parts of themselves that no one else can see. Healing takes time. Trust takes time. Learning to smile again takes time. None of those things make you weak. They make you human. Perhaps your mother would smile and say, "I'm proud that you kept going, even on the days when nobody applauded." Think about that. Not every victory receives recognition. Some victories happen quietly. Getting out of bed after heartbreak. Choosing kindness after disappointment. Refusing to become bitter after betrayal. Holding on to hope after months of uncertainty. These moments rarely become headlines. But they build extraordinary character. And character lasts far longer than applause. Now let me ask you something. Have you been so busy chasing approval that you've forgotten the value of inner peace? Many people spend years trying to impress strangers while ignoring the wisdom already planted within them. They become exhausted trying to meet expectations that were never theirs to carry. Imagine hearing these words. Live a life that lets you sleep peacefully at night. Not one that earns endless applause but leaves your heart empty. There is profound freedom in that idea. Because success without peace often feels like failure wearing a beautiful disguise. And peace begins the moment you stop measuring your worth by comparisons. Maybe you've been waiting for permission to rest. Permission to begin again. Permission to believe that your best days haven't already passed. Consider this your reminder. Every sunrise arrives without asking whether yesterday was perfect. It simply offers another beginning. Perhaps your life can do the same. As you continue listening, don't think of these words as answers to every mystery. Think of them as gentle reminders of truths that enduring love often leaves behind, truths that encourage us to live with courage, gratitude, and hope. Because the next part of this journey explores one question that changes everything. What are the 3 promises a loving mother would hope her child never breaks no matter how difficult life becomes? And why do those promises have the power to transform not only your future, but the lives of everyone you meet? There is a quiet moment that comes into almost every life, a moment when the noise fades just enough for your heart to ask a question your mind has been avoiding. What kind of person am I becoming? Not what job you have. Not how much money you've earned. Not how many people know your name. But who you are when no one is watching. Imagine, for a moment, that the voice of a loving mother could gently answer that question. Not with criticism. Not with disappointment. But with the same patience she showed when you were still learning how to walk, still making mistakes, still discovering who you were. She might say, "Don't become so busy building a life that you forget to build a heart." Think about those words. The world celebrates achievement. It rewards speed. It praises competition. But the people who leave the deepest mark are often those who quietly choose compassion when no one expects it. Have you noticed that the strongest people are rarely the loudest? They don't need to announce every good deed. They don't need constant recognition. Their peace speaks before their words ever do. Perhaps that's one of the greatest lessons love leaves behind. Character grows in silence. And silence is becoming rare. Every day, thousands of voices compete for your attention. They tell you to buy more, become more, prove more, compare more. But what if the life you've been searching for doesn't begin with having more? What if it begins with appreciating what you already carry inside? Your ability to forgive. Your willingness to learn. Your courage to begin again after disappointment. Those qualities cannot be purchased. They are developed. Sometimes through joy. Often through hardship. Imagine hearing this gentle reminder. The difficult seasons were never meant to harden your heart. They were meant to deepen your compassion. That changes everything. Because pain can move us in two directions. It can convince us to close our hearts forever. Or it can teach us how to recognize another person's hidden struggles. The choice is ours. Have you ever met someone whose kindness immediately made you feel safe? Someone who listened instead of interrupting. Someone who understood without demanding explanations. Those people are rare. And perhaps they became that way because they once carried burdens no one else could see. Maybe you've been carrying invisible burdens too. Perhaps you've wondered why life seemed harder than it should have been. Why certain doors closed. Why certain friendships ended. Why certain dreams took longer than expected. What if those experiences weren't only shaping your circumstances? What if they were shaping your character? There is an important difference. Circumstances change. Character remains. Imagine a mother quietly reminding her child, never let temporary disappointment make permanent decisions. How many people have abandoned beautiful dreams because they experienced one painful season? How many have stopped trusting because one person betrayed them? How many have stopped believing in tomorrow because yesterday was difficult? Life has a way of whispering that today's chapter is the whole story. It rarely is. Some of the most meaningful moments arrive after seasons that felt endless. Not because life suddenly became perfect, but because perseverance slowly opened doors that impatience could never unlock. Maybe that's exactly where you are today. Standing between what was and what could still become. If so, don't underestimate this season. Seeds spend a long time growing beneath the surface before anyone notices them. Growth often happens quietly. The strongest roots are invisible. Your life may be doing the same. Now imagine another gentle conversation. I hope you remember to laugh. Simple words, but powerful ones. Some adults become so serious about surviving that they forget how to enjoy living. They postpone joy until every problem disappears. But problems have a habit of replacing one another. If joy always waits for perfect circumstances, it may wait forever. Instead, notice the small blessings. Morning sunlight through a window. A peaceful conversation. A familiar melody. A child's laughter. A quiet evening after a difficult day. These moments seem ordinary. Yet years later, they often become the memories we treasure most. Have you ever realized that the happiest memories from childhood were rarely expensive? They were simple. A shared meal. A walk together. A bedtime story. A smile across the room. Love made ordinary moments unforgettable. Perhaps it still can. Now consider another thought. Imagine hearing these words. Please don't carry guilt for the things you couldn't control. So many people spend years punishing themselves for outcomes that were never entirely in their hands. They replay conversations. They imagine different choices. They wonder what might have happened if only. But life cannot be rewritten by endless regret. It can only be lived forward. Learn from yesterday. Honor yesterday. But don't become trapped inside yesterday. Because your future still deserves your attention. Your dreams still deserve your effort. And your heart still deserves peace. Take a deep breath. Think of one burden you've carried far longer than necessary. Not because it helped you, but because you believed you deserved to suffer. Now imagine gently placing that burden down. Not forgetting it. Not pretending it never existed. Simply refusing to let it define the rest of your story. There is freedom in that decision. Freedom doesn't erase memories. It changes your relationship with them. Now imagine a final reminder before this part comes to an end. If you ever wonder how to honor the love you received, become the kind of person who gives that love to someone else. Those words carry incredible power. The greatest legacy isn't found in possessions. It's found in people. Every encouraging word you speak. Every act of patience. Every choice to forgive. Every moment of generosity. Those things continue traveling through lives you'll never fully see. Kindness has a remarkable way of reaching places we never expected. And perhaps that is how love continues long after someone is gone, not through impossible certainty, but through the way it transforms the people who carry it forward. But there is still one deeply personal reflection waiting ahead. Because in the next part, we'll explore the quiet habits, forgotten promises, and unexpected moments that often reveal just how deeply a mother's love continues to shape the choices we make, and why embracing those lessons can completely change the direction of your future. Sometimes the most important conversations are the ones we have in complete silence. No audience. No applause. No distractions. Just you, your memories, and the quiet realization that life keeps inviting you to become a little wiser than you were yesterday. As you've listened this far, perhaps you've remembered moments you hadn't thought about in years. A familiar smile. Words of encouragement spoken when you were ready to give up. Simple advice that didn't seem important at the time but suddenly makes perfect sense now. That is one of the remarkable things about love. Its lessons often become clearer with time. Imagine a mother saying, "The greatest gift you can give yourself is not a life without challenges. It is a heart that refuses to lose hope." Hope isn't pretending everything is easy. Hope is choosing to believe that today's difficulty doesn't have the final word. Every sunrise quietly proves this truth. Night eventually gives way to morning. Storms eventually pass. Seasons eventually change. Life keeps moving. And so can you. Perhaps you've been waiting for a sign that it's okay to start over. Maybe you've delayed making an important decision because you've been afraid of failing again. Maybe you've convinced yourself that too much time has passed. But think about this. Nature never apologizes for beginning again. Trees bloom after barren winters. Rivers continue flowing around obstacles instead of giving up. The sun rises every morning without asking whether yesterday was successful. There is wisdom in that. You don't have to become someone completely different overnight. You simply need to take the next faithful step. One choice. One conversation. One act of courage. One moment of honesty. Those small decisions quietly shape extraordinary lives. Now imagine hearing these gentle words. Please don't let fear make your decisions for you. Fear has an interesting habit. It often disguises itself as wisdom. It whispers that you're being realistic. It tells you to stay where it's comfortable. It reminds you of every past disappointment while conveniently ignoring every past victory. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's deciding that something more important deserves your attention. Perhaps that something is the dream you've postponed. The relationship you've neglected. The forgiveness you've delayed. The kindness you've been waiting to express. Life becomes richer when we stop asking, "What if I fail?" and begin asking, "What beautiful thing might happen if I try?" Take a moment and think about someone who encouraged you when you doubted yourself. Maybe it was your mother. Maybe it was another family member. Maybe it was a teacher, a friend, or a mentor. Notice something remarkable. Their confidence in you probably arrived long before your confidence in yourself. Sometimes others see our potential before we do. The challenge is learning to believe them. Imagine a loving reminder. I always hoped you would see yourself through kinder eyes. How many dreams disappear because people underestimate themselves? How many opportunities are missed because someone assumes they aren't capable? How many beautiful chapters never begin because fear convinces a person they're unworthy? Don't allow that voice to become louder than hope. Your story is still being written. Every page offers another opportunity to choose patience over panic. Wisdom over impulse. Gratitude over resentment. Compassion over judgment. These choices may seem small. Yet over time they become the foundation of an extraordinary life. Now think about the people around you. There may be someone who quietly needs encouragement today. Someone carrying invisible grief. Someone questioning whether they matter. Someone trying to stay strong while feeling completely exhausted inside. You may never fully know what another person is carrying. That is why kindness matters so much. A gentle word can become someone's turning point. A listening ear can restore someone's confidence. A sincere smile can remind someone they haven't been forgotten. Never underestimate the influence of simple goodness. It often reaches farther than dramatic gestures ever could. Imagine these heartfelt words. If I taught you anything worth remembering, let it be this: leave people with more hope than they had before they met you. That single idea can transform every conversation, every relationship, every ordinary day. Instead of asking, "What can I gain?" you begin asking, "What can I give?" Time, patience, understanding, encouragement. These gifts cost very little. Yet they become priceless to the people who receive them. As life moves forward, there will still be difficult days. There will still be unanswered questions. There will still be moments when the road ahead seems uncertain. But uncertainty doesn't have to become your enemy. Sometimes uncertainty is simply the space where new possibilities are waiting to grow. Remember this. Your future is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built through countless ordinary decisions repeated with faithfulness. Choosing honesty. Choosing gratitude. Choosing integrity. Choosing hope. Again and again. Those quiet choices become your legacy. And perhaps that is the deepest lesson of all. The love you received becomes most meaningful when it continues through the way you live. Not by holding tightly to the past, but by allowing the best parts of it to shape your future. So as this chapter closes, carry these reflections with you. Speak kindly, especially when it's difficult. Forgive where healing is possible.